Hi, I'm Rob Anderson, founder of Grape ID. In this video, I'm going to talk about how Grape ID works using LEGOS. So the big question and goal of this video is this: how to make transactions faster and safer. How to make them the fastest and safest as possible. Don't worry, we're going to go over lots of examples so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's get right to it. This is you, and we're going to call you Susan. And these are random Legos that mean the transaction is either slow or unsafe. So we're going to put you in your house where you store all of your personal information and data, where you are smiling, happy, and content. Then comes along a police officer who knocks on your door. You say, "Who is it?" He says, "Officer Sanchez," and you open the door. Now, what's the problem with that transaction? First off, is the police officer legitimate? You, as Susan, have no idea. So that's why we throw down a brick, because we don't know, and it's a hassle. Plus, how does the officer know if you are actually Susan? You don't know, and there's no easy way other than you have to have your photo ID. So let's go to your second transaction. You are going to install a mobile app. First thing you do is download it from the App Store. And what are the problems with the mobile app? You don't know if it's a legitimate company, so you put down a block, because that's a hassle. You don't know who the people are that created it or where it's based. You don't know if the company has expired, because maybe it was legitimate last year, but it's not now. And you have no idea if the owners are real legitimate people, or even all the people that work there. So we're going to throw down a bunch of blocks. So now let's do your third transaction, which is an email from the beloved Ellen DeGeneres. She sends you an email saying that you won an amazing getaway and that you're going to go on her show, and all you have to do is buy the tickets through her by sending her money. So first off, is the email legitimate? You have no idea, so you get a hassle brick. Second, you could try to call them, but they're not going to answer your phone call. You could try to say that you could try to read to see if it's an email from a Nigerian prince, but that's a lot of work. So let's go to transaction number 3, where you want to buy a pretzel, let's say at Target. That's another door because every door represents a transaction. So you are buying a pretzel at Target, and guess what happens? You probably want to know if the company's legit. If it's Target, it probably is. But if it's a small business, you never know. So you got to put down a brick because it's a hassle and you may be gypped. Next, the company has to know if you are legitimate. It may or may not matter depending on the business. Then you have to carry a card, which is annoying, especially if you forget it. If you forget it, then you have to have a a PIN, which is annoying, or you have to have a signature. So now you walk over to your 5th transaction, which in this case is grabbing an Uber or Lyft. And you already purchased it online, so now you just need to hop in. But the problem with that is, how do you know if the driver is legitimate? So you got to have a brick down, because that's annoying. And then how does the driver know that you're legitimate? Well, they really don't know. So you need another hassle brick. So there you have it. You have 5 examples of transactions, everyday transactions that you go through. But there are thousands of transactions that you have every single year. We could go through every other transaction or door, such as when your McDonald's order is ready. You have to somehow convey that message. And when you buy stuff on Craigslist, that's another door that you have to open. Or if you get a phone call and it ends up being a robocall, that's another transaction. How about if you comment on a blog? What if you pay your water bill online, or withdraw cash from an ATM, or check into a hotel, or log into a website, or share a video? We're running out of doors. There are so many transactions that you participate in every single year, literally thousands, and they all have hassles. So we need to decorate it with lots and lots of hassles. This is what your transactions look like every single year that you engage with. You're constantly running around from one door to another every time you have a transaction. One door opens, and then you forget that this one's open, and you have to close it. And then you're constantly opening and closing. So you could have a house like that with thousands of doors that you're constantly opening and closing, or you can have a house like this, which is Grape ID. we have the first section, which is full of one-time authentications. And then once you get through here, and I'll go through that in a second, but once you get in, then you are continuously authenticated using things like GPS, voice recognition, and behaviors. So as you arrive here, you need a government issued ID. That's what G stands for. And then you have to take a selfie. That's when you download the Grape ID mobile app. You need, those two things are required. Then you pick, face scanning. You can do fingerprint scanning. You can use our proprietary Grape ID card. You can set up a PIN or password, set up voice recognition, or a friend where you invite friends to verify your identity. These are all a one-time setup, and once you go inside, then, as I said, you are continuously verified using GPS, voice, your behavior, stuff like that. And occasionally you have to come back out to type in a password or whatnot, depending on the service that you're using. So once you set that up, when the police officer comes, you just scan a card, you just scan your phone, and then the police officer is legitimized instantly. And then when you buy a pretzel, you can do it in one click. And when Ellen DeGeneres sends you an email, you can do it instantly that the email is legitimate. And when you download that mobile app, you know that it's legitimate because your Grape ID app tells you. And when you grab that Uber car, you now know that the Uber driver is legitimate in just a few seconds. So that's why I call it the doorstop method, because when you convert to Grape ID, you use one door that's really, really protected, and that stops you having to use thousands of different doors. So which do you prefer, chaos or simplicity? I hope that helps you understand. And the last thing I want to mention is that we've always been taught to never disclose our information. That's why I invite you to watch my other video where I tell you why I'm handing out my personal information like candy on Halloween.